A very warm welcome to all our viewers and the members of the audience who are joining us this evening. This is Eranda Aberathne and welcome yet again to another episode of Good Night Colombo, the show where we bring to you the unfamiliar stories from the familiar faces and the unfamiliar faces with some pretty unfamiliar stories which you need to know about. And joining us this evening, I have with me Eranda Aberathne, who I will tell you his portfolio in a little while. But first of all, I'm very proud to introduce him as a former student. It's always a pleasure to see former students going the distance and doing very well in life. Eranda is a hotelier. He's also an entrepreneur. He's into tea. He's into adventure. He's into hospitality. And who knows? In my view, he's one such guy who has the potential to be one of Sri Lanka's future Elon Musk. Maybe our reply to him. Eranda, welcome to Good Night Colombo.
Hi guys. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the great introduction. It has always been a pleasure. I mean, learning from you. You have taught a lot of things about life, about education, everything, and I really appreciate the fact that you invited me to have a nice chat on your great new show.
Eranda, so what have you been up to during this lockdown? What does an entrepreneur do during a lockdown?
So mostly I've been following this Zoom calls, webinars, and all those things that happen throughout the days. And then I've been stuck at home. I mean, I couldn't go out just like everybody else. And then, so basically pretty much everything to do with Zoom and, trying to learn to overcome this situation and what we can, do to get prepared. I mean, this is a good lesson actually. Taught a lot of things about life, about businesses, about everything and the importance of family. So that's what I was hooked up with. And I really enjoyed the time away from work as well. So, yeah.
All right. Good to hear that. So you've been learning. That's always interesting. I know you're a keen and ardent learner.
Yeah. The reason I started to play golf was because of Corona. So
yes.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
So, Eranda, let's get to the point. Now, did you ever dream when you were a student, did you ever dream to be a hotelier? Or what were your dreams as a kid?
So, to start with, not at all. I mean, getting into the tourism field was not one of the options back then. I always I studied physics, biology, chemistry for my O-levels. And then I mean, business was always interesting to me because my father was an entrepreneur. He's a well-renowned business person in the Badula district. So he had been working really hard and he was such a great role model, inspiration, and he always encouraged us to do business. But my mom was a physics teacher. And so I learned physics, chemistry, and biology, and that was my, I mean, I liked it very much. So, however, just because I wanted to earn some extra cash, I carried out a couple of businesses myself when I was, for example, when I was in grade 7, I did a small vegetable cultivation behind my house. And I gave the proceeds, to my mother to, sell it in the Sunday fair. So she used to sell it and bring home the money to me. And then later when I was in grade 11, grade 10, 11, I sold mobile phones and computers to my teachers and my friends in school for easy payment schemes. So I used my father's contacts, got credit period for about 3-4 months, gave the benefit to my customers, and that helped me earn a lot of money as well. And then while at the same time, I did some DVD, VCD rent out business. So my father had a tea factory and he had about 20 people coming home after work to my residence. So I used to showcase a small corner and rent them out DVDs for about 30 rupees per recording. So anyway,
probably
so those kind of things.
Probably about 10 times cheaper than the market price at that time.
Yeah.
I remember, I mean, I know how old you are. So going by the timing and the year, that was a time where DVD rental was about 50 rupees.
Yeah. That's correct. So I used that to promote it to my father's staff, and then a couple of businesses like that. It always encouraged me to do more, looking at my father. And then after that, I came to Colombo. Still, I didn't change my field from science to commerce, and then I started my A levels in commerce. And one fine day, there was a free period, and one of my friends were like, he was from the commerce field, and I was from the science field. So he was like, "What are you planning to become when you're Eranda?" And I was like, "Probably a physicist or maybe a scientist, who knows what." And then later, he was like, "Good. So you can work under someone from my field." So that hit me like, oh my God, really? Like, a business person would always, own the best hospitals, the best pharmaceutical companies, the best of everything. And then I was like, if I become a scientist one day, like, would I really have to work under someone? So that also gave me some kind of inspiration at one point. And then even my family was always stressing me to, start doing business studies and then come join us. So then with that thought, I went to Australia, did my undergrad in marketing and master's in international business. And proceeded there to Australia and then came back home.
All right. Okay, so that's the story behind the man, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Eranda, going back to my one of my questions, which I actually wanted to discuss with you, was now you joined your parents' family business that was into tea. That probably was a new experience. And but have you been studying and learning about tea from your childhood, or was it like a totally new learning? And what about your parents? Did you come straight away to a middle point in the structure, or did you start from the bottom?
So what happened was, when I was a kid, like, I used to go to the factory with my father, and then my mom used to work in the factory as well. Like, she used to, even at one point, I remember she comes home from school and goes with my father to weigh the tea leaves. And then they worked really hard day and night. My mom was packing tea for my father, and like, I grew up with tea. So even to the factory late nights or mornings, whenever possible, my father took me to the factory. So I had a fairly bit of understanding about tea. So after I came back, I was supposed to join my family business back at home in my factory. So when I came home, I uh, experienced a bit of a culture shock. Whereas, like, when we were in Australia, I stayed there for about 4 or 5 years. And then when I came back, it was really hard for me to adapt again to my parents' surrounding. Whereas, when we were there, we want eat whenever we want. So that was a bit hard for me. And still, I was telling my brothers and my father also, pestering them, saying that I want to start something new. So let me go to Colombo, where, a bit away from them, and, start something on my own. So my brothers actually encouraged me to do that, because my father is basically into manufacturing. So his business is manufacturing tea and selling to companies like Dilma, Lipton, Akbar, etc. I mean, the big companies who export tea through the Sri Lanka tea auction. So I came to Colombo, and then my brother helped me get an office for 25,000 rupees, and he helped me hire an undergrad. So we started the business together. No one else, and I mean, obviously with the help
And
of
this
my
business you are
brother.
talking about is Halpeti.
Yeah, tea export, UH exports. Yeah, we sell the brand Halpeti to the rest of the world now. So what happened was, after I came to Colombo, it was really hard for me. So I was talking to my brothers all the time, because I was a very small company with a 25,000 rupee room rented out. I mean, I can't even invite a buyer to come in. And it was really hard, because all the other big companies were like, I mean, we were like a teardrop in the ocean, to be honest. Everyone else was big. They knew how to do it. I mean, I had no experience whatsoever in exporting. It's a whole different ball game. So day by day, I learned everything, and I understood what my target market is, and developed the products that appeal to my target market. And then I wrote to all the chamber of commerce in all different other countries and found out a niche. The niche is where I wanted to focus, and all the other big companies were focused on quantities and big buyers. But there was a different niche where people would want to start their businesses, and they were expecting to get quality products in a small scale to start with, maybe like 5 kilos, 10 kilos, and then those customers turned into proper customers. Do you understand what I say? Like,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah, so I catered those high-end niche clientele with a quality product and with a quality attractive packaging catered to their customization of that specific country. So little by little I started, and then
So that is more like private label.
uh, private label also I did, but I started with my own brand, but in smaller quantities.
Understood, understood.
Yeah. So we expanded little by little. They grew along with us. So they invested in the business in their country as a distributor. So we didn't have, we gave exclusive distributorship to some, and then they developed step by step along with us.
All right.
That's how today we have now it's about 5 years or 6 years since I started the business, and now we have become one of the large tea companies that export tea to over 35 countries around the world, and we have been one of the most awarded Ceylon tea companies in Sri Lanka.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Eranda, tell us the story behind 98 acres. Beautiful property. It's slowly becoming one of those hospitality icons in Sri Lanka. I mean, like for example, when you think of hotels in Sri Lanka, it's one of the most commonly shown pictures. But tell the story, tell the branding of it, and why Allah. I'm curious to know that.
So when I was this happened in 2012, I think I was in Australia doing my final year of my masters. So my brother actually he wanted to go to Australia, and then he ended up in Nepal for some other reason, and then he saw some. I mean, this is my elder brother Chamara. So he saw the opportunity for an eco-friendly type of restaurant in L. So because he saw a lot of, I mean, there was a tea estate that belonged to my father, which is 98 acres. The acreage is the land extent the brand name carries. So he saw that product and he wanted to implement it in L. So the reason for him to do that is both my brothers Ranga and Chamara, they saw potential of tourists coming into L, the increase in number of tourists every year, mostly backpackers. So they created the restaurant and one room to start with. And then later, day by day, it grew. And one of the most important reasons for that business to succeed is the location. So for any business, it's a common thing. So location. So we were lucky to have one of the best locations right in front of Mini Adams Peak and Allagat, where tourists pass by. They always see the property. So they built a small restaurant there with one room, overlooking the beautiful landscapes right in front of the most popular tourist attraction in LA. So now today we have converted that restaurant into a full-scale resort, giving job opportunities about 150 people who are working there currently, and making 90-acre resort the world's best mountain resort from World Luxury Hotel Awards 2016, 17, and 18. So that was the story behind it. And then when we got into tourism, we hired the professionals to run the business. So three of us, we are in three different areas. So I'm the director marketing. I handle the marketing related stuff. My second brother is the finance director. He handles all the financials, accounting departments under him. And then my elder brother is generally overlooking. He's the director general. He's into business development, construction, and everything like that. So the three of us have different areas of focusing and strengthening each of our components. And then we meet and brainstorm. And, even when we want to innovate something, even if we want to develop something, we get together as a team. And then we brainstorm. We set our goals, our financial goals to marketing goals, to everything, and business goals. So, and then, later on, we develop products like the Secret L and then the Flying Ravana, etc. So, all those products are outcomes of our passion for the business. We never do business in terms of the financial gain only. We always focus on doing something passionate and something interesting and something that no one has done, and we are ready to give that, extra, go that extra mile to achieve something. I mean, all three of us. So yeah.
I think it's always fantastic to see three brothers, working it out together. I'm quite sure your parents are also very proud of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, yeah. They are
Ellen,
very happy.
I
Yeah.
want to ask you about the people factor. Now, how did you manage to get people in a village like Allah to, absorb the concept of luxury service, high-end service, and then, make them deliver that? Because I remember when I paid a visit many years ago, even
Yeah.
the ones providing the therapy services like the spa treatments, they were also from Allah.
Yeah.
So how did you manage to cultivate that culture of high-end service among the staff members?
Right. So basically, we had no idea of tourism, to be honest. So when we were starting, we only knew that we could, okay, fine tune a product. We have the great location, and we want to make Ella, which was currently a backpacker destination, into a luxury tourist destination, and
Like a
develop
first
products
of
on
its
that.
kind of a thing.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
It was like a first of its kind in Allah to have a luxury hotel.
Yeah. So because even like from my experience, what I've gathered is first you get the backpackers and the surfers, then you get the people who follow them are the trendsetters. I mean, the people who follow the backpacker, and after the backpackers come, you get the trendsetters, and then after them you get the luxury segment. So the backpackers were already there, and there was good signs that Allah is going to be a proper destination because it's located right in the middle of connecting the beach to the hill country between Nuvarelia and down south. And also it is like the hub to Arugambe. So it is during off season, people travel to Arugambe. So they have to travel through L. So after we understood all these things, coming back to the original question, my elder brother managed to find a good general manager. Even in all our businesses, we have professionals taking care of their departments. So we are specializing in managing and expanding the business, whereas the people who run the business are the people with great experience, a great knowledge, great know-how. So they have developed the product according to our requirement. So the ex-general manager, his name is Alam. He was at Gold Phase and Serene Pavilions. So he was there from the start. So we wanted him to know that we are making this product. Can we do this product? We got his input as well, even during construction. And that's how we catered that exact product the way we wanted. And the outcome was also very successful.
All right.
So all the standard services, everything is managed. And we have constant training. So we get, for example, you were talking about the spa treatments. So we get people from there, we recruit people who have prior experience, or we train them until they come up to the standard where they could give the same exact experience to our customers. Without that, we wouldn't let them face any customers. So that's generally business ethics, I suppose.
All right. Eranda, now, there was a recent report, not very recent, but about a year ago, the report was coming from the leading consultancy firms of the country, where they said that most family businesses don't really go beyond the second or third generation, that they mess it up, right? Where do you think a lot of Sri Lankan family businesses, especially when the next generation takes, there are successful stories. I'm not saying no, like, for example, the likes of Dilma, and then there are so many hotel chains, and there are so many travel companies that are doing very well. But where do you think Sri Lankan family businesses are actually going wrong?
It all depends on what you really want. So, for example, if I have the passion of doing business, and if my father wants me to do something else, I mean, we have a certain point of cultural difference as well. When you come to Sri Lanka, you are not independent as per country like Australia or Europe, where you are let go of the family. Like after 16, you can do whatever you want, discover your talents, understanding, work anywhere you want. But here, sometimes people might not want to join their family business because they might not like to work with their father, or they might not like to work at all, or they are not comfortable, or they are not having fun. So if you're not having fun working, I mean, I don't think that you can succeed. And that also falls on later on, you might, actually find yourself in. But the advice that, I mean, not the advice, what I think is you have to have a clear set of goals, and you have to have a proper understanding of the business that you are in. And if you really like it, you have to do it, or if not, you have to follow your own dreams. So that is all what I can say. I don't know, I mean, about why it's not succeeding.
Right. Okay. Let me rephrase the question. Let's say if somebody who is watching this right now is thinking of taking over not taking over, let's say joining the family business. Taking over sounds a little bit like a acquisition. Say
Yeah.
planning on, joining the family business. What should they be careful of? It's a very delicate balance. Here you get the young generation with the new ideas and the new theories, and then you get the father or the grandfather with absolutely no knowledge of theories or digital business models or anything, but he's been doing it for a lot of time. He's been consistently doing successfully well, and he's thinking, why should I be bothered about these digital models and these theories that my grandson or son is bringing? Well, when I have a model that successfully works.
Right. Yeah. So obviously, when there is, I mean, the grandfathers and fathers, they have done a tremendous job catering a product or a service to the market back then. But now with with new social media and the computers and the phones, everything, and the revolving, changing dynamics of customers, I mean, it should change. Change is one of the biggest problems that has happened. I mean, even for companies like Kodak, or I mean, big companies that are resistant to change, the companies that are not changing have gone, they have gone bankrupt. The reason is they have been they have a proven process that have been successful in the past. So a lot of people who are, I mean, above 50 or 60, who have done their business, like you said, they don't want to change. But change is one of the main things that keeps you alive. You have to continually innovate. You have to, I mean, obviously, when the product that your father or your grandfather has developed might not appeal to the younger generation. So if that products appeal only to the generation of their age, it would never appeal to our generation. So as entrepreneurs or as people, you should always try to develop something that goes along those lines, or help your father understand that, or else go out there and start alone. Try to, venture out, just like I did. And, most of the people I know have this problem. So whatever said and done, you have to have a clear set of goals, a smart set of goals. Analyze them quarterly and check whether you're on track or off track. Create some traction tools. See whether what's going wrong, what's not going wrong. How can I make this successful? The another most important thing is the effort. There are thousands of entrepreneurs around the world who have great ideas, great dreams, big things going on in their head. But no one, I mean, a very limited amount of people, of entrepreneurs, have the effort to make that dream become a success. They can just sleep around, think around, stay on the couch, but that is about 20% of the effort. If you want your dream to come true, you have to put 100% of your effort, not 50%, not 60% when your father says, no, okay, I'm going to go back home and sleep. No, effort is 100%. If you are ready, if you have that capacity, that effort, then your business will become a success no matter what. And then the other thing is the experience. You have to have experienced people working under you. You have to have professionals working under you. I mean, if not, like, I didn't have that opportunity because I rushed into things. Like, as soon as I came down, I joined the family business. But in order for you to learn so many things, which my brother always tells me as well sometimes, you have to be punctual. You have to, all these simple things such as taking responsibility, working on time, all these simple things are taught to you if you work somewhere else, at least as an, as an intern. And that is there.
Well, you were pretty punctual today. You were here by 8:27.
Yeah.
Earlier than that.
Yeah. And another thing is networks. That I'm very fascinated about that thing. I read somewhere as well. I wanted to share it with you. So if you want to become a greater version of yourself, I mean, to understand more, learn more, and grow more, that is how you will add value to your father's business or the business that you're going to start yourself, or even the family life, or whatever. So the networks, if you have 5 people that are closest to you, apart from your relatives, this is something I believe, this is something that I have read somewhere. 5 people who are closest to you, who might not, not relatives or, brothers or whatever, but the 5 closest people to you should be smarter than you. If they are not smarter than you, then you will be the smartest out of that 5 people, and you are never on the track to grow. So you're not getting exposed. They will become smarter to your level with time, with your knowledge. But how are you becoming smarter? So networks plays a vital role. So I think in order to succeed in life, in business or whatever, you have to have that substantial amount of network, expose yourself to more educated people, like get advice from different people. You might get different opinions, solutions to different problems. But if you're in the same cluster for too long and other people, if you are smarter than other people, you are in the wrong group. You always have to associate smarter people in order for you to grow. That is also one of the points I think that has, I've learned throughout the years. I always make it a point to meet new people, get exposure from different aspects of life, even if it comes to family or work or, business or anything.
All right.
So, yeah.
Nice. I want to talk about your latest innovation, the Ravana zip line. Yeah. First of all, Allah is also sometimes considered to be the area of Ravana. My question to you is, Eranda, do you believe in Ravana? Number one. Number two, how did the whole zip line come about, and how was that experience? Once again, a first in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the first time that the country had a professional, proper zip line. You could work it. Yes. So but I'm curious to know about your thoughts of Ravana.
Okay. So personally, I don't know about the King Ravana. So I've heard stories and I've read about him. I have learned as a child that he's a great king, and I respect him very much. So
and they say he had the power to control the times of dusk and dawn.
Yeah, and he also had a private jet, which is the
Yes,
yeah,
probably the very first jet. And there was also a story that some parts they believe of it were discovered somewhere in a cave close to Allah.
Yeah. So it's also a famous tourist destination, and there are other parts like Ravana Cave, Ravana Temple, and now there are so many things under the brand name Ravana because he's the most famous and everybody remembers it.
Than me. I've been to the Ravana Caves once, and what was very clear was that if you look at the entrance, because it's high up there, it's hidden in the jungle, and if you actually watch it very closely, the opening is just the right size for a small aircraft to sort of fly in and fly out.
Yeah. The opening is huge. and then as you proceed further, it gets smaller.
Correct. But when you say huge, it's not like a mass opening. It's just enough.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
just
enough
enough for a small plane. Nah?
fly.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
go ahead. How did the zip line come? Ravana's zip line.
Yeah. So we wanted to create something very unique and new, and we always know, three of us, we actually have a family, business trip plan. So we go and explore different things that appeal to us. So once we came out with this zip line thing, we traveled to Thailand, we traveled to Europe, Italy, all those countries in South Asia and Europe. And then we went to the best service providers, and we actually found two guys, and one guy we found to be very interesting, because most of the people, they have never done projects in Sri Lanka or close to Sri Lanka. So they were a bit hesitant, and then we traveled across all the big theme parks. We even went to a ship that had a made a, they have made a big zip line on a ship. So it was very interesting. So we actually traveled across the country, and then we found out the best supplier. We brought him down, we inspected the place, and then we were ready to go. But we faced a lot of difficulties in terms of getting licenses, approvals, to almost everything. But however, we managed to bring everything from Europe, which was very extremely expensive. So we brought the the certified welding parts, to the cables, to the harness, to everything, all equipment according to European Ropes Course Association. That's the highest safety protocol, safety body that is in Europe. So we did all that. We went out of with great amount of difficulty. We brought everything, and we brought a whole big mega zip line, just like, bringing a whole entire unit set up in the Europe according to the highest standards. And we brought down and set it up in one of our lands. So that was a major breakthrough, and I'm really happy with my brothers. It was possible to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
And so you basically had the blessings of Ravana.
Yeah, we had, and one more thing, not only Ravana, not only the mega zip line. Now we have added ATVs, air rifles, and so many other activities. So our main motive of this project, this is only a first step. We are developing so much more in that area, and we want to make Allah the next Ubud. Instead of people who want to go to Bali Ubud, we have everything set up in our pipeline to make Allah the next Ubud. So, we are very excited for the next 5 years to come. We are always...
I'm honestly, at this moment, at this point of time, I'm really proud to have, not that I taught you a lot of things I believe in, out of all the possible subjects, I think I ended up teaching you a law.
Law.
That was the first time I taught law. That was the last time I taught law. All right.
I learned a lot. One of my favorite subjects.
Yeah, I had to learn it first to teach you all, because I remember it was a friend of mine who said, there's a group of guys, a really good bunch of fellows, can you teach them some law? And I was told you had to refer the book, learn it, and go and teach it. And I must say that I'm extremely proud the way you look at things. You don't want it to be the next big hotel or next big adventure spot. You have the vision where you want Allah to become the next Ubud, right? And I myself, at one point, I had planned to go to Ubud this year in October, and one reason was, yes, the adventure they have and the experience. But now, come to think of it, yeah, geographically and in terms of the placement and all that, I think Allah has more than Ubud in my view. Now that you say that. Eranda, on a final note, I would like to ask you a little bit of your thoughts and viewpoint about when do you think the things will return to normalcy? I mean, you're in the hotel sector, you probably get the insights and you also probably get the details way better than we do. But in your view, by when do you think that we can expect some level of normalcy? Because as you correctly said, tourism income has come down to zero. All right.
Yeah.
I believe the locals are visiting the hotel, but I also believe that margins-wise, it's a trickle of what it used to be. But in your view, when do you think the tourism will have some kind of a revival and be able to come back? I'm not just asking when the airports will open up, but when are you expecting for some kind of normalcy to return to the tourism industry in the country?
Yeah. It's a really hard question to answer. I mean, we have discussed
This is your entirely your personal
a
opinion.
million times we have discussed this. I mean, with my brothers, with so many people, and to be honest, we are looking at next August for things
Next
to
August,
start coming back to normal.
2021 August.
Yeah. So that is, I mean, we are putting all our hopes on that. Because now we cater to two markets, which is the backpackers market and the luxury segment. The luxury segment is composed of people above 45, 50 years old who has enough money and who has enough free time to travel. They have set up their business, they have done everything, so they can travel. But they are they are at the higher risk of getting exposed to this virus and going into a critical stage. So a lot of them are not actually happy to travel. The people who are happy to travel are the younger, more energetic, people who like backpackers. But they are also not, Sri Lanka is not appearing to be very inviting at this point. I mean, like the government has done its part by providing, giving all these restrictions and everything. But so the backpacker segment, they are the people who come and stay in Sri Lanka for about 1 or 2 months. They don't care about the accommodation. They stay in homestays. So very cheap.
I just want to clarify one thing.
Yeah.
They may be spending a very small amount only, but they take some really creative photography and they take some really amazing videos, which spreads the word like crazy.
Exactly. So that's what I said before also. So backpackers are the first people to come, next the trendsetters, and next the luxury. So they set up the routes. I mean, it's very important. Even if they don't spend money, they come and stay here for 2 months. They don't spend money on certain things, but they obviously drink a lot. They eat a lot, and they surf a lot, travel a lot, take nice pictures. Those are the most, fundamental foundation for a proper tourism. So I think they are not encouraged enough to travel to Sri Lanka because the government is requesting them to have proper itinerary, stay only in certified 3-star or above hotels or something like that. Tourist board certified hotels. So all these things acts as a barrier for them to stay for 1 or 2 months. They don't have budgets as big as that. So we don't expect anything to come back to normal in January or February. If it does, we are really lucky because we can't depend on the local market forever. So, we have a great bunch of people in Colombo, but that's not enough to satisfy the whole demand of Sri Lanka, the amount of hotels that are coming up and everything. And even when it comes to the economic situation of the country, what I believe is like I was discussing this with my brothers as well, and they also think the same that people have disposable income now. That's one reason because most of the people who have loans, they are on a moratorium. They only have to pay interest. So, they don't have to pay the capital of the loan. That will come after the election. That is when we will go into a recession. Now people spend more than they used to spend.
Correct.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So there might be an artificial, boom that might not. We are fully booked now. In June we are fully booked. July we are fully booked. August also we are almost full. And even the zip lines and everything, we have business from the energetic, enthusiastic crowd from Colombo. But I mean, it's really hard for us to decide what the future will be after September, when all these moratoriums are taken away and the government set up new rules to fight this. So we have our hopes on August. So we have started construction of new projects and everything, and we are preparing ourselves to cater the market starting next August.
All right. Okay. Eranda, I know despite a busy and tight schedule, you joined us this evening on Good Night Colombo. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I've already got so many comments about how inspiring you are and how inspirational it is to indeed listen to you speak. And indeed, what really touched me was how you had a vision not to just make 98 acres the next best hotel, but I think it's already there, but also to make Alla the next Ubud and attract that crowd. I hope, I wish that people who rule this country have a similar vision, and may the other entrepreneurs of this nation also develop a similar vision and take our nation forward. Thank you once again very much for joining us this evening and sharing your thoughts. I could see you were a plain and simple open book. You shared what you had to share. You said what you had to say. And like I mentioned earlier, I am indeed, if I may, with your permission, still mention that I'm indeed proud to call you a student of mine, and that I have taught you at least something small in life.
You have taught me. Yeah,
it's a pleasure and honor to be able to say that. I've been someone who has taught something to this great entrepreneur. Eranda, wish you all the best, and I hope to see you continuing to be a trailblazer in the industry of tea and in the industry of tourism. And may you take our nation forward and put us up in the map there. Wish you all the best, and wishing you a very good night.
Thank you very much. I mean, it was a really great pleasure to stand here and talk about this. I mean, it was very interesting also to share whatever I know. I mean, and it was a great honor to speak on your show. And all the people who are following this conversation, thank you so much for coming in and listening to the tiny things that I have to share.
So, I don't think they were tiny at all. But anyway, thank you once again, and thank you for your humility, and thank you very much. So with that, we wrap up this week's episode of Good Night Colombo. I'm Eranda Aberathne. If you are into business and economics, however, I have a little notice for you. Do check out my latest show on TV1, now called Election First, on Dialogue TV channel number 10 and on POTV channel number 12 every Saturday from 3 to 4. That is TV1 or the channel Election First, on Dialogue TV channel 10 and POTV channel 12 every Saturday and Sunday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. where I discuss once again with inspiring industry individuals the latest trends of the Sri Lankan business and economic landscape. And with that, we wrap up this week's episode. I will not be having this show next week. I am on a personal visit away from Colombo, but the week after that, I will be back with yet another inspiring personality. And see you soon. And until then, it's Good Night, Colombo.